Okay, so it is, I'd like to tell you guys why you should never consider doing doTERRA as a business. For starters, um, those kinds of things, like all those network marketing things, they're always really expensive. I mean, who has an extra $35 laying around so that they can get their own account? I mean, you would definitely need to look for something, some sort of opportunity to make money that would be at less than $35 because that's just astronomical. Like, who can afford that? And then you have to also consider the fact that, once you have that initial membership, it's crazy that that you would have to use things that you're buying. Like most of the kinds of businesses that you would want to be involved in, you just want to store product. It's better. You should just like go outright and buy a warehouse and store all the things. Like you don't want to actually like have to feel compelled to use them. Like it really doesn't matter at all if some of the things that you're trying have a good effect or not. Like if you're in it for business, then treat it like a business and just have storage things and only sell when somebody wants it. You should never be using any of your product because you wouldn't be able to sell it if you used it, right? So that's clearly a very poor business model of starting to like love the product and being able to be experienced enough to talk about it. It's just silly. Like, don't do that. Um, Thirdly, you also need to consider this idea of how annoying it is if you have a problem and somebody like comes to you and like wants you to try something for free and have it work and invite you to learn more. Like that is just so annoying, right? Nobody wants help from their friends. Like, and you don't want to be that person to help a friend. Like, let's just all suffer in silence. You do not go jumping down people's, throats and tell them about some cool experience that you had. Like you need to keep every cool cookie to yourself. Like just like that warehouse, you want to be storing up your own stuff. You don't need to let anybody know about any of the things that have changed your life. Because what if they buy some and then there's less in the world for you? Ugh, like that would be terrible. So definitely don't tell another soul because it's annoying when people like actually help other people. Yeah, I mean, certainly you pay a doctor for that, but if you're not a doctor, then you should be keeping your mouth shut. And then there's also this thing about, like you hear it all the time that these, multi-level marketing companies and stuff, they're shaped like a pyramid. Oh boy, that's a big deal, right? Because things that are shaped like a pyramid are obviously bad. If you want a really reliable like business model, you need to look at executives with a couple managers and then a couple employees and then the customers because that shape is much safer than those pyramid schemes like the MLMs. So watch yourselves, guys. That's just, it can be really bad news. Everybody knows that, right? And then, you also have to consider the fact that nobody makes any money at this. And it's really hard. Like if you look at the disclosures for like Better Business Bureau and the financial documents that have to do with doTERRA specifically, you'll find like yeah, there's okay, so there's a couple thousand people, but you know what? Like that is the top 2% of everybody who has an account in the company. So obviously nobody's making any money. Now, I guess it's true that only 20% of all the people who have an account with doTERRA have ever even uh, enrolled another friend or anything, or have ever made a sale from their website. 80% of them only ever purchase the product because they like it. Remember that warehouse? We just want to get it and store it, and that's it, right? So anybody who is going to buy buy something, tell somebody about it, and have them get their own account, only 20% of anybody who's ever had a doTERRA account has ever even tried that. And of them, the top 2%, which would make it like 10% of those people, um, have been successful at making anywhere over $5,000 in a year. So obviously, that's a terrible place to start. Like you don't want to be in the top rung, the top earning level for network marketing. It's much, much safer if we just stay in that middle section and never attempt, right? It's just safer there. And then you also have to consider the fact that it's when you don't have friends, and I know, 3 friends is all it takes to become silver. But if you only have those free friends, then it's still going to be really hard. I mean, you can't do social media, you can't do like, and so if you don't know people and you don't have like a far reach and have like a super large network and be willing to do this, then you should never attempt doTERRA. Like who wants to work with only 3 people and their whole time? Like that would just be silly to become silver with only 3 friends. So if you have a bunch of friends like that, then obviously you should never start to try to do doTERRA as a business. And then you have to consider the fact that like these companies have such low integrity. Like um you want a company that is okay with looking at the bottom line. You want a company that's okay stepping on the backs of people who don't live inside our country. You want a company that's going to take every spare cent and make sure that it goes to the company, right? Like nobody wants to do anything with somebody who's going to like give back to the people who are actually working and pay them like 8 to 10 times the wage that they would normally get otherwise. Like we don't need that. We want the money all in that one company, don't we? And and this idea of like helping countries out that are like super low income, this co-impact sourcing model and stuff like that, that's for people who are just only focused on charity. And if you're going to treat doTERRA if you're going to have a business that you expect to earn income from, you're going to have to treat them like it's a bottom line. You only look at the red and the black. You don't want a company that tries to give back to other countries or like spends a lot of time looking at the environment and balancing the sustainability of certain locations. That's just too much trouble. Like you don't want to try to get in with a company that's going to go through all that red tape. Like you need someone as a business that you're just going to go with and only take care of you. And then there's the fact that um, all of us uh, these days, especially with all the different kinds of things going on, we love the 9 to 5 work ethic. Like it's so much better to have your set hours. You know how long it's going to take in traffic to get to your place. You know how long it's going to take to arrive home just a few minutes before your kids have to, get their bed, their jammies on and get to bed. You have this set standard way of doing things when you have this nice 9 to 5 job and other people make your hours. But that would be silly to try to change that. Like it's so much better to stay status quo. Like nobody wants a job where you make your own hours or you get to choose when you want to invest your time, or when you need to take a day off for if somebody gets sick or twists their ankle, things like that. It's so much safer to do this 9 to 5 and let somebody else make your hours for you. So you should never consider having your own business at home. It's just better to stay in that 9 to 5 structure. And consider how crazy it would be if you were the one in charge of making money. If it was only a matter of your choice, how much time you felt like you could put in, and to be able to see your reward back, that would be just crazy. Like, we all need the stability of being able to stay at that just above minimum wage or whatever salary you agreed to start with. And you don't need to look for more. Just be satisfied with the status quo. It's better that way. It's so much safer. You should never try doTERRA as a business. And then you also have to consider, the way that even if things are changing, and say, for example, you are in a situation where you're supposed to be the one to watch the kids, so many people have left the workforce these days, especially women. And, in fact, in America, it's like something crazy, like 2.3 million women have left the workforce because they needed to take care of their little ones. And, we all know that patriarchy is, it's a better way. It's proven to be a long-lasting, fantastic world system. Women should never be allowed to get ahead of a man or to make more than a man. And so you definitely need to keep perpetuating this cycle, right? We do not want there to be job opportunities for women who are wanting to make more. And so doTERRA, being that a woman can very effectively, while staying involved with her children and choosing her own hours, and still be making in the hundreds of thousands of dollars a month kind of income, like that just doesn't fit with the lines of patriarchy as we know it. So that should, yeah, you should never consider doing that. It's obviously a very poor model. And, considering the fact that doTERRA is really, so much of it seems to be involved in this kind of woo woo voodoo, help people feel better thing. Like, what's that all about? I love living without a purpose. It's just so much easier if you don't have anything that your heart is attached to, and then you don't get your heart broken. And that's just safer. That's the way we need to do things these days. So don't get this idea that that you're going to empower women, or that you're going to like help people feel better or change their life and help them be healthier just by sharing some little bottle. I mean, that is just mumbo jumbo. You need to stay where it's safe. Don't go getting all crazy and coming up with these passionate ideas to change the world. Having purpose and really being able to get behind some kind of an idea and model, and don't get me started on this one. There's this idea that you should work with people who have been through what you have been through and have the same vision as you. That is totally overrated also. The idea of having community and having people to help guide you to do what you want to do, that's just silly. We need to be solopreneurs. You can't trust a single soul on this earth besides yourself. So don't get connected with anybody who can help train you to do the things that you're wanting to do. That would just be terrible. Think of how things would result if you had a community like that. I mean, they might like encourage you when you're down, or they might like give you sweet insights, and that would just feel like, like it was yucky and compelling you to do something. And you just need to stop up your ears. Don't listen to another soul. Only do this on your own. You are completely alone in this world, and that's the way it should be. So yeah, that whole idea of building with a community, you would never want to get involved in doTERRA. And then there's the fact that, just so closely related to that, we need to invent every wheel from a square peg. And it's better for us to struggle and to go through the learning process of inventing the wheel. It wouldn't be right for, our self-development would never happen if we tried to use the wheels that were already created and to have it be a vehicle to help us get farther. Again, just silly concepts. Why would somebody think that that would be like a good way to do it? We have to do this on our own, and getting guidance from others, or sticking to some sort of proven training sessions, that would be really obviously useless, right? So, all in all, there's a lot of different reasons why doTERRA be a really, really sucky business. And I think you should never try to get involved. I'm pretty sure there's some people listening in, and I would be curious to see what they would say to this kind of, ideas that I've been having here. Was there someone who'd like to share? Marcella, go ahead.
So, um, I don't think I could do it as well as you did, so I'm going to speak in seriousness.
Okay, that's fine. No more tongue in cheek.
No, a couple of things that you said that struck a note with me were inventory. Um, I don't keep inventory. I really don't, and I really think that that's one of those things that's really amazing about this, because I have had a number of people who would call me up and be like, "Hey, can I buy this oil off of you?" And I'm like, "No." I can send you a link. I can get you signed up. But I don't carry inventory. I might happen to have it. You might get lucky if I happen to have an extra that I can sell you. But I appreciate not having to have a room full of inventory that I may or may not use. And but it also helps. To be able to show people the value of having your own account, and like, if you open your own account, I'm going to be there to help you through that, and to be able to make sure you know how to use your oils, and I'm going to be available. But if not, I'm not going to carry inventory for you, and you're on my schedule. You don't have the convenience of ordering whatever you want. Getting into your own account whenever you want. So that has been really nice about doTERRA, different from other companies where you do have to carry an inventory. And not only do you have to carry an inventory, but you really have like a minimum order that you have to order every month. Otherwise, you get knocked out. You're penalized, and you're no longer, you have like maybe a grace of a month. And how long does it take you to recuperate from having a baby? And you only have a month before you have to like get back on the ball and order enough to get qualified again, and stuff. So there's that about doTERRA. But then the changing lives is the other thing that struck a chord for me. One of the most satisfying moments has been those one, couple of times that I've had people say, "These oils have changed my life," and like, I'm never going to be the same, or these oils are always going to be a part of my life, or you've really made a difference. I recently shared with a coworker, and she, with two experiences with oils, already shared her testimony with someone else about how amazing these oils are. She hasn't bought from me yet. She hasn't even opened her account yet, and she doesn't even like have oils in her home yet. And she's already realized how amazing these are, and is already telling other people about them. So, those are my experiences with being having a horrible doTERRA business.
And how long have you had your horrible, terrible doTERRA business?
Terrible. I'm going on 3 years.
Gotcha. Nice. Very good. And so, so you're taking meetings in your car on the way to a restaurant with friends, and
Yeah.
But like you don't do 9 to 5 with doTERRA. You don't have to show up at a certain time and leave at a certain time and do what other people tell you.
Now with doTERRA, no, I'm able to kind of set my own hours and do my own thing and give it what I want to give it, which is a blessing that I can do that. And again, going back to the not having a minimum thing. So if there's a month that I want to take a break, or if some life's happening and I need to take a break, I don't feel that pressure of, oh my gosh, I need to make a certain amount or else I'm not going to, qualify. Whatever
Mhm,
the
mhm.
terminology is for other companies.
Yeah, yeah. Awesome. 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 Thank you for sharing. Anyone else want to say anything before I let you guys know about a training opportunity coming up? Rose looks so happy. I bet she might have a little something. Do you have something you want to say? No.
I would love to. I'm on the beginning of this, so I love the tongue in cheek. I kind of take the tongue in cheek stuff. I've heard everything that you talk about, and I'm in that 9 to 5 world where I've got pressures of quotas and things like that. And um, I love the little path that I've been able to come on as I've been able to do it. And it's been so exciting for me, just the people that work around you and us, and that you can have access to in the entire company that really can answer questions. It's like this huge community, and with just a little pod of people that kind of get us where we need to go. It's I'm just starting, and I haven't, I'm just starting, and I'm excited about the process. So yeah, I've been about maybe a couple months in
Mhm.
taking on doTERRA as a business, but I've just loved the learning process for the year before.
Very cool. Yeah. And you've had so many good experiences with the product as well. I know there's been some surprising things that you've had, big changes that you haven't seen for years and years with your particular issues.
And do you know what the fun thing that I learned this last week? So I have an autoimmune disorder, and sometimes doctors indicate that that will affect your teeth. And I've been going to a new dentist, and I'm using doTERRA toothpaste and the mouthwash. And they are seeing gum problems heal. My dentist told me that that's happening right now. And I have never had that happen over 20 years with dentists. It's always my teeth are getting worse. And it was funny because they even told me at the last visit, well, when you use those toothpaste without fluoride and all sorts of things, that we see lots of problems. But it's reversing the gum receding line. They have a level of measuring that. It's reversing. It was a 4 and now it's a 3. So just a little thing, just by using toothpaste. And who can't afford, I mean, toothpaste? It's yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's such a great story. Yeah, I hadn't even
yeah,
heard that yet.
yeah,
Fantastic.
yeah.
Wow. Good
And
stuff.
I think it's the myrrh in yeah, because I've been studying, but I don't know. That's the thing. You kind of get led to different things, and that's exciting. It's like a beautiful scavenger hunt for me personally. And I love beautiful scavenger hunts with friends, right? So why would you want to do it?
Oh, I love that, Rose. A scavenger hunt. That is beautiful. Yeah, because yes, you find like little treasures here and there. And like you're kind of following a little bit of a set track. Like when somebody gives you the rules or the structure of the scavenger hunt, you kind of have some sort of idea where you're going, but you just find all these amazing things as you get there. And yeah, and you get to kind of decide how fast you're going on the scavenger hunt, and that's a really great analogy. I may have to use that again in the future. Super fun. All right. I don't know if Marie would like to share. Marie, you can let me know if you feel like you have something. I'll go ahead and let you guys know that part of the reason we are even doing this today is because come January, I have kind of a more structured 4-week program that I'm planning to invite you guys to do. And so if some of these, even though as tongue in cheek as it was, encouraged you to go ahead and do doTERRA as a business, which would be just so silly. I would love to help, kind of like guide you on that. It's using a structure that's been tried and true for other people and for myself and all that along the way. But so we'll be starting to do some meetings starting at lunchtime at noon on Mondays will be our team call. And you guys will have some assignments and things like that you're expected to do throughout the week. And we'll be connecting through a text chat. Unless somebody, says they really want to do WhatsApp, but I feel like the text is probably the easiest. And so we'll just be following along to kind of see some basic things of how to start, doing doTERRA a little bit more seriously as a business. It's a great thing to kind of start off the new year. So at this point, I don't think, with all the Christmas things coming up and whatnot, I just would kind of like to leave you with, a couple ideas to look into, coming in around the new year, making a decision, especially here around the full moon time, which I think for us just happened like yesterday. And so there's still a lot of that beautiful energy right now. And this idea of like, I don't know, coming in extra enlightenment and coming into some ideas. So if this is of interest, if you're like, yeah, why am I waiting? Yeah, like this actually could be pretty simple. Just want to encourage you that it really doesn't take much to start doTERRA as a business. So much of it is just 4 basic things. It's sharing things that you have already used and love, right? So no warehouse ideas. Like you have to, like, you can't recommend something unless you love it yourself. And yeah, even other people, like Marcella's example about the coworker who doesn't even have her own account, but she's already recommending doTERRA to other people, right? So you have to be able to share it, and that's easy to do when you love it. And then when they love it, we just you invite them to learn more. And that one's really simple. Pretty much anybody can do that as well. The third part is teaching, which I know keeps some people from doing anything because they're like, well, I don't know if I want to learn how to teach this, and it take too much trouble and things like that. Plus, who's going to come to a class in person? Who's going to want to sit on a Zoom class? Who's going to want to? So there's different variety of ways that we can do it. We'll be going over during the in January when we start our 4-week course for the launch. We'll be talking about the different methods. We even have something that includes a text style class so that when people are sitting at gymnastics watching their kids practice or something like that, they can kind of flip through and see the key portions of the class and but have it be very unobtrusive, which is kind of nice. Anyway, so it goes share, invite, teach, and again, that doesn't have to be on your shoulders. And then the last one is just to after enrollment, then support. And supporting would be just introducing them to the community that they have, helping them find those books, showing them the little guide to the scavenger hunt so they can find their own little treasures just by, learning about myrrh being so great for gum health, and learning about different things that are, better for their respiratory tract compared to what is most often offered, Vicks Vapor Rub or whatever thing it may be, and helping them find those alternatives. So I feel like those are pretty basic, pretty simple, and I think we don't need to overcomplicate it or think too much about it the way that I was, sharing when we do our tongue in cheek kind of stuff. Sometimes we can overthink things and think that something is a roadblock. And then sometimes if there's, something goofy that happens, to kind of be like, oh, actually, it turns out that wasn't such a roadblock as I thought it was. It turns out to be fine. So I would just ask you guys to kind of consider some of the things we talked about, and you can connect back with me either through, commenting on the video, or you can email me at enamoredwithnature@gmail.com. Or many of you who are actually listening right now, you already have my text number. I think most of the people who I will, who told me that they couldn't make this meeting but wanted to listen, also have my number to text me as well. So okay, friends, I think that's about it. I'm going to go ahead and press the stop recording button.